Hey guys. So I wanted to flip through a sketchbook I just kind of got done with, at least for the most part. And I figured I'd make a voiceover for it, just to talk about stuff. So I started this in May of this year. Didn't I had other sketchbooks I would work on, but this is primarily what I've been drawing in. Sometimes I would make larger projects. This is kind of a small sketchbook for me. So yeah, starting out it was a lot of, I don't know, sketchbook stuff. Some target practice, line practice, just trying out new things. I got into like watercolor. It was actually acrylic ink, but if you mix it right, you get kind of a watercolory effect. They also come in these cool bottles. So I messed around with adding that to pieces. I was pretty disciplined about adding dates to these drawings. I stopped doing that pretty soon though. On the left is a tripod I drew. I started doing more object studies later in the year, playing around with faces. Really early on, I really didn't try using reference or go for any realism. It was very doodly. And I also, there's parts where like I just didn't have the patience. This October I've really been putting more time into drawing, and it's paid off, I think. So yeah, just messing around with the color, seeing how the brushes work. Paint is kind of a new medium for me, so just getting comfortable with it. I like the piece on the right here. Sometimes I write stuff down, try not to think about it too much. A lot of it is concept art that I would try to think of. I was also encouraged by a friend to focus on line work. So I started drawing these squares with all the lines in. Or target practice. And a page here. You can see I spilled some ink there. It ended up bleeding through, but didn't cause any damage. This is the back of a tractor. That little mechanism there. I don't know what it does, but I ended up studying a lot of machinery, joints and whatever. I think I drew a minion there. Sometimes I can make faces that I really like, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. That's one thing I really struggle with. On the left, you can see I used a brush pen. Every now and then I'll try to open that up just to get used to it, but they're tricky. I also had a phase where I was really into comic panels. I just like how they look. I also drew Sharpie on this page, which bled through. Thankfully, it was the only time I ever did that, but it's unfortunate that that piece got ruined. Not ruined, I just... Yeah. More comic strips. Some attempts at people. I think when I drew this, there were a lot of vultures around my house. Some ideas that I never really went back to. And again, I'm trying to draw people here with stuff on, but it's something I understand a little bit more about how anatomy is and how people look, but it's something I'm really not comfortable with yet. It's more watercolor. This car is at a mechanic, kind of close to where I live. It's really beat up. I like the piece on the right here. It's kind of awkward, but I remember really enjoying drawing it. And then arguably one of the favorites of the sketchbook. The idea was to have a comic book. It was kind of what all the panels were about. And I wanted to make a title page. Even if I never put it into a book, then I could kind of fill in the gaps. I never had a storyboard or any kind of like connective tissue. It just kind of fills in, you know, how I feel it would go. And more big landscapes. I like the perspective on that one. I think it turned out nice. A lot of times I'll draw part of a piece and then I fall short on one part and I just give up. It's something I'm working on. Sometimes I just don't feel like drawing either. More sketches. Some perspective practices. I used to really kind of put off figuring out how perspective works. I had an idea, but I didn't kind of internalize it. I don't think that's a real building on the left. If it is, I'm not sure where I saw it. More phases. A lot of this book specifically is like exercises. I think there's only about 20 or so, you know, pieces that I really kind of put out. The rest of it is just kind of playing around, seeing what happens. Now that photo had a reference, but I didn't really construct the face, so it looks a little silly. There's a lot of farm equipment where I live, so I've always had enough kind of stuff to look at there. This part of the book is kind of dry. I could go back and fill this in, but I think it was a time where I wanted to draw, but I was just distracted by other things. A lot of my hobbies can get kind of destroyed by mindset. If you don't feel like doing something, or if you feel like you're not good at it, then you can really easily get dissuaded. Here I started getting into poses and just constructing human figures in general. I think it helped. But I did all of this in like a couple days, which I think you have to take more time over a longer period of time to really internalize it. On the right is my friend's house. They have a huge cat. I've drawn him a couple of times. Some of these pencil drawings weren't drawn at the same time as the pen. This past October, I've been going back and filling in white space with object studies, or just whatever practice I can do. This is, I think, an old church on a lake in Wisconsin. My parents went on vacation there. This is the same friend's house. You can see the fridge, the little alcove. I was focused on other stuff though, so it looks a little wonky as well. This is kind of the start of a vacation. We were visiting family and I would draw their houses sitting in their chairs. This is my cousins. My cousin's mom. And then they had a huge cat too, so he made it. I really like their house, so I tried to draw the layout, but it was more about the layout of everything than getting the look right. I was also on vacation, so I didn't spend that much time on it. I really like this piece on the right. I wish the shadow looked a bit different, but I like how it came out. Another weirdo on the left. And then the right is a barbershop, Japan. There's a lot of Instagram pages that post storefronts from around the world. They're great for reference. Put a lot of focus on architecture, houses. I also started designing some kind of a land vehicle here. Some attempts at boats. A lot of times I'll try to draw something without looking at it. And when you do that, you kind of find out how little you really know about an object. Back to some watercolor. I like the colors here. I was really trying to get these muted kind of tones. More comic panels, of course. More writing. Silly cartoon cats. And then, comic pages that don't work out. And some that don't make sense. I also start to look at trees more. Try drawing them. Some more ideas. This blue ink is a fountain pen that I got. I like the pen. It's a little small. But I like the ink. It's the only blue pen that I have. I like these two pages. I was actually really a fan of how the left one was going, but for some reason I burnt out on it. There's the farm equipment. The houses around me are very simple, but the kind of grain silos that are placed next to them are very complex. It's great to look at. This is a very dry spot. Part of the reason I got a small sketchbook is that I didn't feel so forced to cover so much of the page. Previously, I would buy like 11 by 9 or 13 by 11. It's a Nikon camera. Someone asked me to draw their spy cosplay, and it kind of worked out. I like having a smaller book because when it comes to daily drawing, it's easier to if you don't want to put as much time into it, you don't feel as forced. I like how that blue ink looks. Reminds me of a lightning bolt album. And this is the beginning of October. Or Inktober. I switched to pencil, which is kind of against the idea. But a lot of my other art was in ink, so I wanted to get some practice in. And I ended up sketching more, which made stuff look better. Big watercolor stuff. I based this off a water purification plant. But it was really a test on the coloring. This is when I really start to start diving into perspective. Start deconstructing everything. There's a raccoon that lives there. Or a few, I'm not sure. Tripods again, tractors. A lot of simple objects you can really understand better if you just draw them. Artillery unit is very complex. I tried drawing this cool Mobius strip, but it was really weird, and I didn't want to try because it wouldn't turn out the way I wanted to. I'll probably go back to it at some point. I still like the idea. I keep getting ads on Instagram for these helmets. And then the one on the right that I'm pointing at is a model spaceship my friend made. Asked me to draw. This is still October, but I've just kind of given up on following prompts. At the start, it was helpful to follow something just to play every day. But toward the middle of the month, I didn't really need to. This is my workspace. Then I rotated it. More weird faces. Tractors. They look weird. And then the end. About 5 months? 7 months? Yeah. So I have another sketchbook of the same size and then one size larger that'll probably do. We'll we'll see where that goes. After looking back, I'd like to fill more of the pages out. So sometimes I just draw a few lines and then that's it. I think it's okay though. Sometimes you don't feel like doing all that much. I'm not sure if drawing every day is a good solution to that, but yeah, I don't know. Having the habit is good. These are the pens I use. They're mostly technical pens. Brush pens. There's a pencil on the left. Then the fountain pen. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Happy Halloween. Okay.